Hello everybody, welcome to Tech Tutorials. In this first episode, or lesson, we're going to be talking about the basics of Java, mostly going over some terms that you will probably hear when learning Java, or maybe you've already heard them when you were learning other languages. So this today is going to be mostly for beginners, not really for advanced coders, but if you're an advanced coder and you want to review, there's nothing wrong with being here. So I'm on REPL.it right now. It's a great coding platform. So just go to REPL.it. You'll probably have to sign up and all, but first thing you have to do is click New REPL, so new project. And obviously we're doing Java today, and you can name your project whatever you want. I'm going to name mine Tech Tutorial 1. Oops, sorry guys. Okay. And so I'm going to start off by explaining, like, what does class main mean? What does all this mean that you see on the screen? So let's start off. What does class main mean? So a class is a group of code. It can get much more complex. We're just going to leave it at that though. A class is a group of code in simple terms. Main is just the name of the class. And yeah. Okay, next. What does public static void main string bracket args mean? So that is called a constructor. Now those are very complex, so I'm not really going to explain that right now. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, next. What is system.out.println hello world? So that is called a print statement. So basically this left side here, this is your coding side, and on this right side it will show you your output. What does your code do? So print statement will just output whatever is in these quotes. So if I click run like this, also Replit does take a little bit of time to run the software, so we will let it run. I think I'm on bad Wi-Fi. Yes, it's not really loading. Oh, there it is. Sorry guys, that took really long to run, but there it is. Hello world. Okay. Now, see, as you can see, the print statement, it just prints out whatever's right there. So that's really simple. So in order to do a print statement, you just write system.out.println, parentheses, quotes, and then whatever you want to put out there. Okay, now we will go over some terms that you'll hear, and that'll be it for the video. There's a lot of terms, so here we go. We'll start off with something extremely simple, a variable. You probably have heard this in your math class. A variable, in math you'll normally see a letter standing for a number. A variable, in this case, is normally a word. It could be a letter, and it could be anything. It could be words, numbers, just one character. And that's when data types come into play. So what is data type? It's the type of the data, the type of your variable. So it's pretty simple. So when you're making a variable, you have the data type first, then the name of the variable, and then what the variable is equal to. What I mean by that is, say we want to make a variable equal to 5. we will do integer. So int. Integer is int. Int temp equals 5. So now this temp variable is equal to 5. That's it. So that's just an example of a variable. So now I'll just tell you all the different types of data types. So there is string. That's words. Like, I walked the dog to the store. That's a string. Even just one word, that's also a string. Then there's char. A char is just short for character. C, H, a single thing. That is a char. So for strings, you would say string tech. I don't know why I'm using the name tech so much. String tech equals then quotes hello. Boom. Next, for char, you have to put it in single quotes. So char tech equals then single quotes 8. Boom. That's that. Next, another data type is doubles. That's just decimal, so double tech equals 5.7. Boom. Make sure you always put a semicolon after the statements. And then the final type, data type we will discuss today is Booleans. Those are very simple. They're either true or false. And that's it. So Boolean tech equals true. Alright, that's pretty simple. Next is, what is a method? So a method is, if you've learned other languages, they're similar to like functions. So the way we will make a method is we would do public, public, and then whatever your function is outputting. So let's say we have a function that is adding 2 to a number. We will need to return an integer. That means at the end, we will end up with an integer, or a double. We'll do a double in case there's decimal. So if we're adding 2 to a number, we will output a decimal. So we do double, public, double, and then whatever name. So I will name mine add2. This is just for any function, like an adding 2 function. Then inside the parentheses that you put after your function name, you put whatever you need before in order to do the function. So in order to add 2 to a number, we first need to have a number. So it could be a decimal again, so we'll do double and then number. Perfect. Then after we do that, we do these curly brackets. This is just an example of a method. Not just, yeah, okay. So next what we do is, this is simple. We'll just do the actual thing, which is adding 2 to the number. So number plus equals 2. That's how you would add 2. Now I'll just show you how to add. So then to subtract 2, you would do number minus equals 2. Oops. Minus equals 2. And then multiplying, number equals number times 2. And then dividing, number equals number divided by 2. Or whatever number. Okay, so that's Oh god, I deleted way too much. Man, one too many. It's not. So yeah, we would do number plus equals 2. So that's adding 2 to the number. And then, so this is not doing anything. This has defined our function, but we haven't called our method, function, whatever you want to call it. So we put add 2 here. And now we have called our method. So just to test, if I say add 2 to 9, now it should output 11. Oh, whoops, it won't output anything. Now we'll do system dot out dot print ln, and then no quotes because this is a variable calling of a function. Add 2 parentheses 9. Alright, and then a semicolon, and now we'll run it. Again, this is going to take probably quite a while because the Wi-Fi is kind of slow. Oh god. What is happening? Why is the Wi-Fi dying? Alright, I think there's a problem with my network connection. So, I'm sorry I can't run this right now. Alright, so that's basically what a method is, though. It would work, so if you try it on your computer, it should work. Next, after the method, we have for loops, while loops, if statements, and if-else statements. The last 4 things that we will cover today. So we'll start off with an if statement. If statements, they're pretty simple. Basically what they are, if a condition, so condition is true, then do whatever is here. Do this. Do it. And then if a condition is not, if else statements are if condition, do this, and then else. So if it's not true, if the condition is not true, do this. Now, you don't need an else, because if you don't need an else, then just leave it, and the computer won't do anything. Depends on the program of what you need it for. Alright, so that's it for if and if else. I don't know why this is auto running now. I must have run too many times. Now it's running like just the condition and do this. I'm sorry. Just ignore the right side. So, next, for loops. For, and then in the parentheses, int I equals 0. I is less than however many times you want the for loop to happen. I'm sorry if I did not explain for loops. So for loops are running the same code however many times you want the code to run. So this for loop will run however many times. I'm going to put 100. And then semicolon again, you need a semicolon there, then I plus plus. Okay, so now let me explain what all this means. So normally you'll use the letter I for this. So int I equals 0. And now it's saying if I is less than 100, then do whatever, then do this. Do whatever is here, whatever, wherever, where I'm typing right now. Okay, and then if, then you're gonna add 1 to I. So now I will be 1. So now, if I is less than 100, do this. Okay, so I is less than 100. We're going to do whatever's here. Okay, then, oh god, okay. If you're, now that you're done with that, what you need to do, what it's going to do is, it's going to add 1 to I again. So it'll say, okay, now I is 2. I is still less than 100, so we're going to do this. This again. So then it's going to say, okay, now we're going to add 1 again. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5, all the way up till it gets to 100. Once it reaches 100, it's going to realize, oh, well now I is not less than 100, so I can stop doing this loop. Okay, now the final thing we'll cover today, while loops. So I'm just going to give you a small example of a while loop. A while loop is basically while blank is happening, do this. So I'm going to show you, like with a while loop, it can do something that will go on forever. So if you want something to keep on happening forever, you should use a while loop for that. No, I'm just going to show you how to do that. So remember how we talked about Booleans are true or false. So Boolean, let's just make a Boolean. Boolean tech again equals true. Boom. Now we're gonna make a while loop, or how about we set it to false? Why not? Actually, whatever. All right. So while tech. Now I don't need to write while tech equals true, because when there's nothing after the tech, then the computer assumes it's true. If it is false, you have to write while tech equals false. Alright, and then it'll do whatever you want. And since we're not changing whether tech is true or false, the same thing will happen over and over and over, because tech will always be true. Unless we change it in an if statement or something, where we might do, whoops, oh god, where we might do if condition. You don't always write condition, by the way. And then we might say tech equals false. And then the while loop's going to say, oh, well now, tech, if the condition is true, it's going to say, oh god, well now, tech is false, so we're going to stop the while loop. And so that's really while loops for you. And that's it for the video, too. So, hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you really took something away from today's video. At least a little something. I'm sorry if you couldn't understand what I was saying. I apologize. And so that's a wrap. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.